Hey guys, Lech here, part 4 of the Sauna Build. In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to basically do the outside walls. We're going to be using our rough cut 12 inch by 1 inch boards. They are rough cut, so some of the edges will not be even, so I'm going to show you guys how to get a nice even cut on both sides, as we are going to be connecting them with a shiplap edging, just like I did the gazebo roof section. So we're going to do the same idea for that. I'm going to do a detailed video separately as well, how to do that with the router and so on. But I'll mention it in this video as well. In addition, we're probably going to be doing the openings for the windows, maybe even install the windows in this video, depending on how long it takes, work some of the inside walls, and so on. We already got our kiln drying lumber as well for the inside, but that will probably be the next video unless I can squeeze it all into this one. But let me show you guys what we got here and let's get started. So we got plenty of the boards for the outside. Here I was cutting them nice and even. They're a little bit under 12 inches wide now. And we're gonna start with the back wall over here. I'm gonna start here first, if this is in the back, so anything we mess up, it won't be a big deal. I don't have enough 12-foot boards to go the width here. So we're gonna go 8 foot from the end to here. That will cover fully the sauna, and then this one will be a separate section, maybe run a little beam down the middle. So that's the idea. Same with these walls, but we're gonna have a window here. Door's gonna go right here. And then the outside wall here, we're gonna do the same. Here we have enough 12-foot boards to run across. And we're gonna have a window or glass opening right here in the middle. And the back wall where the stove is, same thing. We're probably gonna do a window there as well. So let me show you guys how to get our cuts, and let's get going. For the walls, you want to be pretty flush connection when doing the shiplap edging. We didn't cut it yet. This is just the cut boards, as they all have little balls and stuff in them. They're not straight. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick way I did it. You don't need a table saw. I actually found out the table saw for these long pieces, it's a little tougher with the model I have to cut, as I am doing almost 12-inch wide beams, and this can only go 12 inches. So it's not that stable. So I'll show you guys the way to do it with a handsaw, which I'm used to using anyway. So I went to Home Depot, got myself a 6-foot section of angle iron. So make sure it's straight. I wanted 8, but they didn't have it. And basically, or if you have 8-foot level, even better. But basically what you're gonna do, either one of the edges, we're gonna be cutting off both because neither one is even. You just wanna line it up pretty close to the edge, but have enough material to cut off. And we're just gonna make one straight line. And I use this line to finish off the whole section. So now we have our clean edge. We can trim this off. If you have a table saw, use it. But I feel like to do the trim edge, this is easier for me. So now we got a nice flat side. So now you can do this 2 ways. Grab your tape measure and go side by side, measure out the distance you want. Mark your line over here, cut that off. Or go to the table saw, set up your guide, put this side against the clean side against the guide, pick the length you want, cut this side off, and you got a nice even straight board. Once you have both sides straight, then you can grab your square, cut off your edges to the length, and that's really it. That's how I did it. If there's a simple way, I wish I knew, but with resources I have, that worked for me. Alrighty, so I got my fancy router set up, and now we're gonna do the shiplap edge. And shiplap edge, I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like in a second, but basically you want to get our bit to the height so it's gonna cut right to the middle of our 1-inch beam here. So that's what I did. I'm gonna give this a cut and make a couple test pieces. And this is what a shiplap edge is. And when you connect them, you want to be pretty flush. So I'm still up by a couple millimeters, so I'm going to adjust that so they're pretty flush. And then that's how our wall is going to be. We did the roof of the gazebo the same way, so that's my goal for the walls. And I'm gonna do a full detailed video how to set everything up. I already have a video on the router itself. This is the skill one. It's probably the best router you can get under $200 for a complete system. But I'm gonna do a whole video how to do this in more detail. This and also tongue groove edges, which I'm gonna do for the inside of the sauna. So check those videos out. Alrighty, so the back wall, this is pretty much all of them, I believe. It's about 82 inches that I need of lumber. And here's our shiplap. Pretty good. Happy with that. They are pretty snug together, but it's 1/2-inch shiplap, so even if it's not perfectly, if there's a little space in, I think we'll be fine. We are gonna seal everything after it's all put up. First, we gotta give this a little burn, and let's pop it up. Alrighty, back wall is ready. Let's put it up. The only thing left to do is just measure and trim the unnecessary edges, because it's gonna be a little long right now. I added an extra board. Alrighty, so I got the bottom piece flush cut. Give it a good burn on both sides because it's gonna be sitting on the bottom of the pressure treated wood. I'm gonna put that one first and then lay them on top of each other. Another thing I'm doing, I'm making sure that my shiplap edge, this is facing upwards. So if water does get in there, it will sit here and not go in the other way. Hope that makes sense. I'll show you guys when I build it up. Alrighty, time to put up the first board. So you can start from the top and go flush against those rafters if you want. That's gonna be a lot harder than starting from the bottom and just working your way up. So that's what we're gonna do. And to make sure I'm starting even, and my board is 11.5 inches, at least the first one. I wanna be a couple of inches below the plywood here, but not to the ground, as I don't want it touching. And so I basically measured 11.5 inches to this mark, took my level, made sure it's level, and put all my other marks. Now I'm going to line up my board against that, secure it, and work my way up. Alrighty, we're going to line up the board. Go flush to that side. For now, I'm just going to secure it with some finishing nails, and then later I'll screw it in. Now a few screws, guys. You can start working our way up. last thing I want to do is crack any of this wood now. I am going to use this type of bit to pre-drill my hole and get it ready. And then of course we're using outdoor screws. These are 2.5, but I might get some 2-inch ones. I really don't need that long. So we'll do this for all of it. And then let's put on the next beam. And before you put on your second beam and so on, brush this up, make sure you don't have any residue. And if you guys notice, I have a little space in here. You could put a shim here, but the reason the spacing in these isn't is not because these are not even. They are even on the inside. These are rough cut 2x4s, so they're not all perfectly wide, but it's not a big deal. If you use a regular 2x4s, you're not gonna have that problem. I might shim it, I'll see. But for now, this should just slide on there perfectly. The reason I'm doing this here, any water that, like, let's say somehow gets in there, it's not gonna get through. It's gonna sit on this edge here and come out. That's why we're doing the taller piece on the inside. But same idea. Put this in. Let's put it down. Make sure it's all nice and flush. And there we go. We got 2 done. That looks good, solid. And if you guys notice, I mean, these boards are at least inch thick, if not a little more. With the router, I could only go 1/2 inch, so there is a little overlap, which is actually perfect because it's outside higher than the bottom one, which we want. So this looks great so far. And now we just keep working our way up. Here we go. It's looking great. Got the nice little overlap. And now we just gotta measure out the distance. I'm gonna go all the way up to the rafters, might as well. So gotta cut the last board a little bit, and then we'll install it flush. So the wall is all set. Now we just have to finish the other section here that we didn't have enough length for. And then we can start moving to the side walls, and lastly, the front wall. And here we are, the whole thing finished. We might put a strip here or something just to seal up this connection. But it's great so far. So before we move on to the other walls, which I was gonna do the back wall here where the oven's gonna be right here in the middle, we gotta make the opening for this guy, because this will stick out. This will be in the middle of the wall basically, right? So I'm gonna build a nice square opening here, and then I can work my way around it. And do the same thing as I did in the back with this wall. And here, if you guys notice, that rafter beam is flush with the 2x4s, so it's gonna be easy to go all the way up. All right, I removed the center stud because it wasn't exactly in the center anyway. Center is right here, meaning from wall to wall. So that's where I want the stove to be. And it's a 10-inch wide opening. So I'm going 16 inches to 3 inches on the side. So I put up our base from the bottom. I'm gonna put up these two 16-inch studs, just like that. And the one over here. And then I'll run my regular stud back up to the top. And that's gonna be our opening right here. Just like that. Insulate it all here later, and then the stove will go in and cover it all up. That's really it. Wall rebuilt. Opening for stove is ready. Now I can move forward with the walls. And once that's all set up, we can install the stove. Is he gonna make it? Don't forget to mention, once you have your perfect even piece cut out, you just trace it around, either both sides or one side as needed. And then just cut out your fresh pieces, and that's it. And it should be nice and even. At least that's one way. Alrighty, our next wall is all pre-cut. That's where the stove is gonna be. With this one, I got a little fancy. I had a scrap of extra cedar that's just too small to do the inside, so I'm gonna use it to do the bottom edging of this one. Just better moisture protection. I'm gonna seal it anyway by shiplap edging is all done on these, so I'm just gonna burn them and we can mount them, and then later we're gonna cut the hole where the stove is gonna be and possibly a window. Alrighty, so I changed up the stove entrance a little bit. Remove the center beam for now because I might be doing a window there. I can always add it back in. And I reinforced everything more because I want to probably do some tiling outside. So I'm going to have to mount some hardy backer boards. I'm not going to run these boards all the way across. That's why. So that's how we'll do it. We'll see how it looks. And we'll keep going. Here's the progress. Cut out the planks for the opening of the stove. And then over here we're going to put a hardy backer and tile it. And don't forget it's also going about 2 or 3 inches in where the insulation will be. So now we'll just finish this wall and we can move on to the next. Alrighty, now moving on to the front wall. So I have these, well, over 12 foot, but there should be about 12 feet at least, beams, 12-inch ones, boards, excuse me, that are gonna go here. But as I already noticed, doing the 10-footers was pretty tough, cutting it straight with the tools I got. And the shiplap edge is another story for board that big. I'm probably gonna split it in half. So this is the opening from the inside of the big beam to here's 136, so I can go 68 down the middle, just pop in another stud right here. Or since this is the sauna room and then this is like the changing room, I want to put a window probably right about here, between those 3 beams. So maybe I will run 4-foot sections of the boards here and then run the remaining 7 feet down that way. And that might look more pleasant to the eye than just a little strip down the middle. You know, that will be in the center of the window. So I'm gonna play around with it, figure it out. But for now, just gotta prep the boards, cut them straight again, do the shiplap edging, and we'll put them up. And I'll show you guys progress in a few seconds, at least in this video. Alright, so I mentioned I was gonna cut the main wall in half. I'm sticking with the 12-foot sections, well, almost 12 foot, I think 136 inches. Got all my straight cuts done. And now I did this jig basically on this side as well to hold the wood for me. I didn't do that before when I was cutting the 8-footers and I had to hold the beams. This will help me keep leveled so I have good even pressure on the router bed here, so nothing's sticking up and not getting an even cut. So it's working well. That's what I'm going with. And we're gonna have nice solid pieces for the wall over here. Alrighty, we got our front wall up. Looks great. Later on, we're gonna cut out here in the middle probably for a window when I come up with what I want to do. But that's it. All we have left is this inside wall now, this section, and then we can seal everything outside, that is, so it's waterproofed. And then probably start on the flooring. Alrighty guys, I'm actually gonna try to clear coat some of the outside now. It is December, 51 degrees, had some sun, now it's cloudy, but it's the best weather I'm gonna get to get that done. So this is what I'm gonna be coating the outside with. The only, and probably the best stuff I found in Home Depot. I wanna say this was like 60 for a gallon. We'll see how much this will last. You wanna do 2 or 3 coats. I was gonna do brush, but they ended up getting this on eBay for about 30 bucks, and we'll see how it works in a minute. Should do the job. Let's give it a go. So you have it about 6 inches from the wall, and just give it a spray. So it seems to cover this 11-inch board fully. And that's only the first coat, so. So guys, the sprayer works well. We just used coat in it. That's the first coat so far. The gallon is probably gonna be enough just to cover everything once, one coat, if that. So probably gonna have to get a couple more. But once I do that, it's gonna be nice and protected. Yep, looks pretty good. I'm gonna get this done and we can move on to the next step.